What to expect at your first lifestyle event? Honey, what should people expect at their first lifestyle event?
Nothing.
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 Okay, don't expect anything.
No, you definitely are going to expect something, but don't expect as far as spicy or like playing goes. Don't expect anything like that.
Why not?
Because if you set your expectations up for that, will most likely be let down, and then you're going to think it's something wrong with you, and why don't people like you? The reality is, for most people, especially when you're a little newer or you're not super aggressive, you don't have a super outgoing personality, you're not a regular at this club, making connections with somebody in the 4 or 5 hours that you're there is extremely difficult.
Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button.
Usually when we've made connections with the people, it's not until like later in the night.
Right.
I feel like
and it's not a packed party.
No, yeah.
Like, because we just went to a party and it was packed and it was like almost impossible to make connections.
Yeah, it was like too crowded and it was hot in there. There was like a lot of regulars. It was just like a lot going on. Mm-hmm. But as the night died down, I think if people get a little bit more like drinks in them, they get a little more like flirty and stuff. But by then it's 11, 12 already. And so you don't have that time. So I think if you set those expectations, like it definitely, like how many times have we left a party and been like, nobody wanted to play with us?
A lot.
We didn't play with anybody. I'm ugly. Like how many times have
Our first 2 years in the lifestyle, I think it really ruined us a lot.
Yeah.
Because we would be driving home and it would be like, we would talk to people and then see them 2 hours later playing with another couple.
Yeah, and it's just like we weren't making those connections and we weren't being aggressive.
We were afraid of coming off like aggressive though.
Yes,
too.
I think because of what we do too, I'm afraid that if I'm just like, hey, so you want to go play? Like people are gonna think, first of all, I'm terrified of rejection. I'll admit it. I'm absolutely terrified of someone being like, oh, no, thank you, because I had to struggle with a lot of insecurities and that I think would just add to it. And then I also don't want people to think like, oh, that's all we're after. Oh, we're just using people. Like I really like to build friendships with people and I like to get to know people. And so for me, it's a little bit hard to just move into that like bedroom situation. So I struggle a lot at lifestyle events if I go in with the expectations or like, hey, I want to play tonight. It is a good idea. On some clubs, they have like those websites when you first join. And you could make connections almost in the beginning, like before you go. You can see who's going to events, see who's like at the club. Like when you join some of those, there's like members. You could get the membership online and then you become a member of the site. And we were like, that's annoying, but we see why it's important.
We saw, we actually, it took us like almost 3 years to finally understand why they do that, because we were with friends. Mm-hmm. They started being like, hey, we're talking to these people we're going to meet up with. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, you're like, that's smart to actually take the time to like make connections beforehand. So when you get there, and maybe you don't hit it off, that's fine. But you can at least have someone to like approach and be like, oh, they found my photos attractive. It's not as awkward since we've already talked for a few minutes over a chat to approach them and be like, hey, it's us, blah, 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 and start that conversation.
You already know, because that fear of rejection is real and that will screw you up. So you already know, like, hey, these people we're supposed to maybe talk to, these people, so they all find us obviously attractive.
Although we had, our friends met 2 couples, their photos were totally catfish because they were like, oh, these people are cute. And they like showed them to us and we got to the event and they're like, never mind.
Yeah, they
or personalities weren't vibing, or like that one guy was kind of a douche.
Like line them up.
Yeah. So you gotta have a couple. But yes, if you go into a club with the expectations to play, you're gonna be let down. But when you first go to a club, I mean, really just expect to like people watch with your partner. Mm-hmm. Like get dressed up, maybe have a drink or 2 with your partner, dance in front of there's usually a DJ or a dance floor. And yeah, just kind of mingle. Like find someone else who's sitting there and looking really awkward and just be like, hey, we're new here. You guys new too? And they'll be like, yeah, we're new. Even if you're not attracted to them, like in that type of way, it just gets you like talking to people and like sharing experiences with people and be like, oh, how long have you guys been in the lifestyle? And just start,
Don't be afraid just to talk to people. And it's hard. And it's so much easier said than done, because it's like you could go in with so much confidence and then you see all these people and that confidence goes to like 0. Because then it's like you see all shapes and sizes and you see people that you're jealous of them because of their confidence in themselves.
That's like my biggest thing. I'm like, if they're off having fun, or I see people who I feel like, I'm like, if they're off, getting to mingle and meet people, or why are those people having success and I'm not? What's wrong with me? It could definitely play into your insecurities.
It really does.
So we've definitely had some good and bad experiences at clubs. Mm-hmm. But we always just know we're going together to have a good time, and it could be sexy to like go watch people play. Like even if you're not doing anything, like it can be fun to go sit and watch people like going at it. And like I'm kind kind of a creeper. I love to go watch. And then you get to like go in with your partner and be like, oh my God, we just went to a club. People were like, you know, doing this or that, or like that was so hot. Like it can just be good for your like spicy relationship too.
Yeah, and I mean it's just kind of a turn on, even if you don't play with others, just watching other people playing and you're like, that's kind of hot. I mean, because sometimes there's other people playing and it's almost like too much. And then it's almost like a distraction if you're playing.
Yeah, it definitely can be hard to play at a club. There's a lot going on, especially if you're ADHD. It's not the greatest environment. Like Eric does struggle in group settings sometimes like that when there's a lot going on. So even that, like, it's just nice to meet people, really. I mean, and if it's your local home club, you're going to meet people who are probably regulars, things like that. So yeah, just meeting other like-minded people is really fun.
It is a lot of fun. And then you also, the cool thing too is if it's club close to you, you do end up like connecting with people like on Snapchat or through texting or through, I mean, we found through Facebook and through Facebook
we've met
groups.
Multiple friends at like events and we didn't play or anything. But we exchanged phone numbers, things like that. And like, then we ended up going on dates later, going to dinner later, playing later, things like that, but not actually playing that night. So it is just a good way to network and like meet people. And
it's also a fun way to meet people on the apps that maybe you've talked to them a few times on the apps, but you could never like meet up. And now all of a sudden you're at a club and you're like, oh, hey, we connected on the app, you know, on this or that.
Like in our local community, we have one lifestyle center. Like that's it. And it's just all the same people for the most part. I mean, yeah, you get newbies and whatever people visiting, but for the most part, it's a lot of the same people. And so we'll meet people on apps or like have brief conversations, but you never have that time to meet up. So when you can all congregate, like that's happened to us several times that we've seen people at clubs like, oh, we connected on an app. And it was nothing like personal. We didn't meet up. Everyone's just so busy. So it's like some people, that's their only opportunity they have to like kind of get away and like play or meet people is at events.
Right, and we've met people where it's really hard to connect through like texting and through the app. You meet them at a club, like you connect and everything, but they're even honest with you, like, hey, are you coming to the next event? You know, because it's like you're probably not going to get a hold of us until the next event.
Oh yeah, no, we've definitely met people that are like, we're just so busy. This is the only time we get out. Yeah, absolutely.
And you can't take it personal at all.
No, and I think that can definitely be a challenge. I mean, I won't lie and say sometimes I don't feel confident at events, or I'm feeling, you know, not the skinniest or the prettiest, or I'm having a rough night. And you know, like you'll plan these events for months. Like say, like I'm going to this New Year's Eve party, and so for months that's all you're talking about. And you're wanting to go and you're planning your outfit, and then the day comes and you're just not feeling yourself. Like that just happened to us when we went to Seattle.
Yeah. Like
we had planned this event for months. Like I got my outfit, I knew what I was going to wear.
You had like switching and changing outfits and
just the event, I wasn't feeling that great that weekend. I was just feeling really bloated and like not myself. It's winter, so I just didn't feel cute. I had forgot some of my makeup because we had traveled out of town, so I was just like frustrated. The event was really crowded. It was really hot. It wasn't exactly, I think, what we were expecting. And so like you just kind of let your hopes down and you get, I don't know, and you like
get in your head.
Yeah, and you just can't build up this huge expectation of what you're gonna see or do or what's gonna happen when you're there. Because you're not gonna walk in a room and all of a sudden people are gonna approach you. And people might be intimidated by you. Like I've had people be like, oh, I wanted to approach you and wanted to play, but we were just nervous and didn't think you'd want to. And I sit here leaving the club thinking, oh, I'm ugly. Oh, nobody wanted to talk to me. Oh, you know, and in a bad mood. But then come to find out later, people were just nervous to talk to you. So it's, I don't know.
It's a double-edged sword. Yeah. And a lot of it also is just knowing where your partner is, especially if you know your partner is having an off day and you're going to this club and it's your first time going. Don't push your partner, you know, because that only leads to even worse things.
Yeah, or if the guys, if like Eric was off flirting with a bunch of girls and stuff, and I'm having a rough night, like that wouldn't be great either. So don't go into it with any expectations of like playing or what you think it's gonna be. Just really focus on like enjoying yourself with your partner. You and them are having a date night, and this happens to be what you're doing. You might see
people watching is fun.
People watching. You might have see some people doing some spicy stuff.
I think that's the best one, to have fun doing it, to have the most fun doing it. Set like a thing with you and your partner of like, hey, let's go watch a couple who's playing.
Yeah.
Because then it gives you kind of like a goal that you're there to experience something of some sort of spice.
Yeah, well, and I always joke, like, I have to see somebody play before we leave. We've been at clubs, so I'm like, I haven't seen anybody doing anything.
Yep.
And I was like, I got to see something before we go. So